dumb debates happen all the time. And if you run into one, or if one runs into you, jot down in your memory,
please,
or pull out your smartphone and quick shoot us off an email or a text.
A tweet.
Or preferably not a text.
If you have my phone number, shout out to you.
But send it to us. Use the hashtag dumb debate so that we can tackle the issue.
Yeah.
Now, I told you that in the tease, there was a dumb debate from years gone by.
Yes.
That has resurfaced as a meme on Twitter.
Oh.
It's about hamburger steaks,
and
isn't it?
And it's kind of locally based. One of the Creighton burner accounts, Karen McGee.
Can you imagine saying that sentence, John, when you were like getting into
broadcasting?
No. Someday I'll say one of the burner accounts.
One of the burner
it's
accounts.
Like giving a Victorian
Karen
child
McGee, who I am told is not really a Karen or a McGee.
No. He's like a 22-year-old
recently tweeted about Buzz Williams. Buzz Williams is
the basketball coach.
New basketball coach in Maryland.
Yeah.
Buzz Williams has he sticks around for about 5 years.
Okay.
Spent 5 years at I think it was 5 years at Marquette.
Okay.
No, 6 years at Marquette, 5 years at Virginia Tech. He just finished his 6th year at A&M, and now he gone.
He gone.
Gone.
Karen tweeted, convinced Buzz Williams made a deal where he got to be a D1 basketball coach, but that one deadly snail was always chasing him, so he had to relocate every 5 years.
Excellent callback.
I love the snail.
To which it looks like a Husker burner account answered, it's 1,435 miles from College Station to College Park, Maryland. Snails move on average 0.03 miles per hour. Since it's a demonic snail, let's assume it's always on the move 24/7. That would take 47,833 hours or 1,993 days or 5.4 years.
And you guys thought I was an idiot for being okay with this.
Yes, because you have to relocate every 5 years.
That's right.
I move all the time, Nick. I just moved for the first time in 3 years, so I'll be just fine.
To a different state?
No, but I can. I can do the
That's
show.
that
I'll
exact
do the show on
distance?
StreamYard.
I still think you're wrong. I still think you would be so
You guys are
paranoid
such idiots.
that every snail that came about your
You always
path.
pick the wrong choice. You go with the murder monkey. You go with the death snail.
Yeah.
Oh no, the death snail. What was I going to get? Like $1 billion or something?
I don't.
$10 million bucks. I'll be fine.
The
All you
rest
gotta do
of
is
your life.
Fly on a plane. Nick, I would see the snail. I'll put a little GPS tracker on the snail.
I still think you're too confident that you
Yeah,
will
how are
see
you?
the
Okay,
snail.
if there's no way you can put a GPS tracker on a snail. You meet the snail kills
Yeah,
you.
the second you touch the snail, you keel
gone.
over.
I won't have one of you do it. I'll have a friend who I actually trust and love put a GPS tracker on the snail for me. I'll be just fine.
Yeah, but what if the snail offers me $10 million to poke out your location?
Well, then that would be a crazy snail because it can talk. How many miles was that in that little tweet there that you were reading?
1,400 miles.
God, that's 5 years. Again, just fly overseas and I'm golden forever. I'm moving to New Zealand, boys.
What if they won't take you?
They would take me.
New Zealand has a pretty strict process.
Yeah.
Yes, but I will bring.
Yeah, this isn't like sneaking into America.
You're gonna bring bad takes. They don't
no.
want that.
I would bring a love of Lord of the Rings. So I got that going.
They
for
probably
me.
hate the damn thing. It's like these damn nerds were here all this time. They kept calling.
Of course they do.
Kept calling our stuff Mount Doom. You had dildo baggins out here. I mean, this is just sad.
Speaking of, no, just kidding. Pedro writes, "Hi guys, dumb debate question. Would you rather follow a 95-year-old driver for 200 miles and you cannot pass them, or have a tooth pulled without any painkillers?"
Oh, speaking of Lord of the Rings, you shall not pass.
You shall not pass. Excellent.
So you're
referencing.
following an old who's,
Are they going the speed limit? Like they have to be going exactly the speed limit, right?
Hell, it might be. I mean, Nick, 95
I mean,
years old. Oh,
there
baby.
is a minimum speed limit on the interstate.
What happens when you have to pull over for gas?
You don't need gas every 200 miles.
I do.
Wow, Nick.
What?
Gas guzzler Nick.
Your truck can't get 200 miles?
Barely. It can
What?
barely get 200.
Are you sure there ain't a hole in the gas tank?
I hope
Yeah,
not.
dude, seriously. How big is your tank?
14 gallons.
Holy cow.
Yeah, it's bad mileage.
Wow.
Nick, what are you doing to our environment? destroying it. You get that's like in the teens.
It's about the same mileage that my old car would get, actually.
This is wild.
That is wild.
My car can go, if I'm just doing interstate driving, it can get 500 miles.
Yeah.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
crazy, Nick. Anyway, I think the answer is the old. Like, that would suck. Those 200 miles would be miserable and horrible. Thank God I have my podcast. Getting your tooth pulled hurts.
Yes.
And that's when they numb it and you deal with the fallout of it.
This is no anesthesia.
Oh,
Yeah.
no. Yeah.
I can be patient.
Yeah, I'll be patient and instead of having to deal with the pain, because you'll be dealing with the pain a lot longer than it will take you to drive the 200 miles.
And the immediate pain, too. So you'd have the pain for a
it'd
while.
it'd be the sharpness that would last, and
Ouch.
then it's just the constant pain.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, Dwayne says 200 miles behind an old man because I want all my teeth. That's the other part. Yeah, you're losing a tooth.
Yeah.
What if they're taking one at the front too?
Ray writes,
Hello, Ray.
which way do forks and knives go into the dishwasher? Up or down? If up, your hands touch the top when unloading.
Yeah, this is easy for me. It goes down, though there is a friend of mine who I house sit and they load it the other direction.
I load it up
Why?
because I believe they get cleaner. They're exposed to more water.
Fair.
So for me, knives are always down, and that's because this is a very on-brand answer for me.
Did you go?
I used to watch Supernatural a lot, the show Supernatural on the CW.
Sure.
And there was a scene where a guy died by falling backwards, and a knife went right through him. And I know it's not in a dishwasher, but...
No, I was going to say, Nick, like if you flip the knife upside down, like, I mean, if you fell into that, I still think it would do a lot of damage. It still might go into you.
Probably won't.
You don't think so?
It'll be the
It's
same
not like
way.
a butter knife is that sharp.
Again, I load it up, but
Your reason is for cleanliness.
now Ray says if
it's pokey.
when you unload, then you're touching the top of the silverware. Not if you. I always take the tray out when I unload the dishwasher, and then there's a little flip handle that opens up like the protector, so you can reach in and grab the entire.
Yeah.
Instead of having to grab the top, and that's how I unload the dishwasher. So I never touch the top of the spoon or the fork or the knife when I'm unloading the
Catcher
dishwasher.
Funny says Lucky Rabbit's Foot episode of Supernatural.
That's exactly
Is
what
that
it
the
was.
one? Wow.
I put knives down, I put forks up, and I don't mind if I do end up touching the head of the fork because I'm not unloading the dishwasher with dirty ass hands.
Me too. I always wash my hands before I unload the dishwasher.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I definitely do it.
You don't take the tray out.
I don't need to.
I can, but then I would say we really like our house, right? The dishwasher is the one thing that I wish was better because it's old.
If only
so it has like one of those. It's like a kind of a square, and you can take it out, but it can't like unfurl like you're describing.
Yeah.
I've always been a upside down in though, just for the sake of not getting stabbed.
Also, if the forks are upside down, it gets annoying because the tines can go like, kind of
they get stuck.
Yeah, stuck in the little grate thing.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Let's see. There was one on Twitter from Mark. If you had to live with your wife or husband having either terrible breath or terribly smelling feet 100% of the time, which would you choose? Bad breath, bad feet all the time.
Well, you can mask the feet smell by
Bingo.
having them wear socks or shoes all the time.
Bingo.
Yeah, but not in bed. Going to bed, honey. Put on your shoes.
The feet are going to be so down.
They're down in the covers.
Yeah, it's like when you fart under the covers, you don't smell it unless you lift it up.
Yeah, but farts dissipate. The feet smell is going to be there forever. So if you like lift the blanket, it's going to waft up at you.
I'm okay with it. So you're taking bad breath?
Even though
you lay next to her face, Nick.
I know.
This is an easy one.
I mean,
but I'm also like sleeping, right?
But Nick's not worried about the bad breath because the rancid mouth that he had.
Nah, yeah, I don't have the rancid mouth anymore.
That's true. Rancid.
Well, you're
rancid.
used to it. You're now numb to it because you had it for so long without taking care of your teeth and your gums.
I think one of the things in the world I hate the most is foot smell. I hate.
I mean, it's a nasty smell. It is a nasty smell. One of the funniest stories growing up was
internet.
My dad would sit on the floor and kind of lean up against the couch. So he would use the couch as like his backrest, but he would sit on the floor and his socks just reeked.
Right.
Really?
And
my dad's too.
In a way, there's something nastier about smelly socks than there is about just the smelly feet.
But our cat was walking through the living room and did like a breeze by around his feet.
Mm-hmm.
And we swear that when the cat passed his feet, he kind of staggered a bit as if, he had been hit by noxious fumes. And it's one of the funnier stories we ever used to tell.
That's
Cat's
awesome.
Feet.
By the way, back to Nick's vehicle. So are you taking breath?
I think I'm taking breath.
Nick, you lay next to her face.
Yeah?
And you talk to her close probably sometimes when you're being lovey-dovey.
Yeah?
And you want that nasty-ass breath?
I could deal with that.
No.
Nick, this is a wild opinion. You barely have to deal with the dirty...
Yeah, and keep in mind when you're
Wait
out
a
in
second,
public,
John.
let's say you're out in public and you're sitting across from each other at dinner, and that nasty crap is coming right at your face while you're trying to eat. And then other people around are like, oh my God, what is that?
Wait a second, John.
How often? So you're talking to somebody and say they have coffee breath. Coffee breath is pretty gross.
Sure.
But you're not going to smell it if you're sitting across the table from them. You're only going to smell the coffee breath when you get
I don't
close.
know.
Yeah, I was at a doctor one time, and he was across the room, and I was like, ooh, that's some coffee.
What kind of doctor?
I'm not going to say it. What if he's listening right now?
I don't know.
I think we might be learning that Nick's a foot guy.
I'm not a foot guy.
Because why would he want? Why is he caring so much about how cleanly they are or how smelly they are or aren't? Foot guy. We be foot guy.
I just stop. I just hate the smell of feet.
Yeah,
I hate feet smell.
But you're okay with bad breath. Have you ever smelled like truly bad breath? Like
I guess not.
rancid garbage.
I mean, it's bad.
When I had acne and I was on Accutane in high school, one of the side effects was bad breath. Nick, bad times. Horrible times. Embarrassing times. And that's what you're wishing upon your girlfriend. Rude. Horrible, rude.
Yeah.
Either way, we're wishing horrible things upon our partners.
Stinky feet or stinky feet. Who cares? I can deal with that. I want to go back to Nick's vehicle. Steve says, what is Nick driving? A Sherman tank? I'm driving a Dodge Ram, which is pretty far from the most fuel-efficient vehicle on the road, and I can definitely get more than 200 miles on a tank of gas. Yeah, this is...
I get better interstate than
yes, of course.
This town.
Yeah.
In town, I can get like 210, 215.
But earlier you said you can't even get 200.
Well, it depends on traffic and stuff. I don't remember the last time. It's really expensive to fill up a tank.
Sure. So you just never fill it up.
I fill it up sometimes, and I always reset the odometer.
How many miles away is your hometown?
However far an hour.
How many
and a half
hours?
away is. It's an hour and a half.
Okay, it's probably.
But it's
90
half
miles.
interstate. It's like 40 miles interstate, and then 40 miles back roads.
Okay. I wanted to read this one from Old Man Doug because his was the one that says, "I'm sure you won't use it because it's not a stupid question." I think I've triggered Doug with
I think Old Man Doug prefaces every email he sends with, "I'm sure you won't read this."
Yeah. I mean, because he just always asks sports questions. And this is another one. But I'm going to read it because he said we wouldn't. Doug, I hope you're listening.
Well, now realize he's going to use that against us. Well,
Probably.
You're not going to watch Beastmaster.
We will not watch Beastmaster. He is right on that. Doug, we will not watch that.
We
For
refuse.
pure Husker fans, what is the better accomplishment? Winning the Pinstripe Bowl or winning the crown? I'm sure you won't use it because it's not a stupid question. John, what made pure Husker fans happier? Winning the crown or winning the football bowl game?
Well, it's always the answer is always going to be football
Because we like football more around here,
well,
right?
the state likes football more. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
Husker fan likes football more. The answer is always football.
Yeah, I think it's football. For pure Husker fans, yeah, it's probably football. Though the crown, the one positive about the crown, if you really want to be serious, is you got 4 wins in a row. Boom, 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 boom.
Yeah, but basketball is different than football.
Got to lift a trophy.
Football is different than basketball.
Yeah, it's probably football.
I mean,
Great answer. Good job, everybody.
It's
Nick, what do you think?
Yeah.
Okay, great answer from Nick. He's just thinking about that truck.
Simba. This was something I saw online. It wasn't actually directed to us.
Does Simba say rar, rar, rar?
But which breaking news notification would you believe first?
Ooh.
An alien spaceship has begun orbiting the Earth near the moon. So it's been picked up by the Hubble. We can see it.
Wow.
An alien
actually be
spaceship has
James Webb
begun
first.
to orbit the Earth.
Okay.
Or a time traveler arrived on campus, went and picked up Abe Lincoln to vouch for him. Which breaking news notification would you believe first?
All right. I just want to unpack the latter one just for a moment. Proving time travel. how would someone prove time travel? Because you could say this is Abraham Lincoln.
But no
Are
one's
we sure
ever,
it's not just a guy dressed
Sure.
up as Abraham Lincoln?
Right.
You know? Not to be a jerk, but I mean, it would
No,
take
that's
a lot.
true.
It would take a lot.
Or is it Daniel Day-Lewis?
Exactly. Proving time travel. I mean, this is another follow-up. Could be like, is that the most difficult thing to prove? I don't know how you would prove time travel.
I think
Right.
it was Stephen Hawking who did a thing once where he like threw a party, but he sent out an invitation like or whatever years ahead of time.
Mm-hmm.
But then he threw the party like way before that. And it's like if time travel is real in the future, then somebody would have showed up to this.
Oh, that's interesting. So yeah, the answer for me is the first one, mainly because I mean I do believe in aliens. So
Yeah, but you don't believe in the moon landing.
yes, I do, John. I just also like trolling you sometimes.
You're not trolling me. I think you really believe it. I think you've worked yourself into a shoot.
No, I
Just like
don't
you
work
have with the
myself
whole,
into a shoot.
Kennedy assassination guy got
No,
killed by the
there's
drunk
no
motorcycle
shoot there.
cop.
Hungover, Secret Service agent.
Super drunk motorcycle cop.
I definitely.
But couldn't you say that? Oh, the NASA is faking this. It's done in a Hollywood studio. There's no you can't
John,
prove that.
there's
Sure.
going to be a billion dumbasses in the world who are going to say that.
Sure.
Just like there's a billion dumbasses in the world right now that walk among us that say the moon landing was fake or the moon's a projection.
That theory is awesome.
I hate those people so
I love
much.
the moon land or the moon is a projection. People.
yeah,
people
I
who
mean,
are like-
the answer is the alien.
Is the alien.
aliens for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Like, just very difficult to imagine. Again, proving. I mean, that's a great point, Nick. Stephen Hawking. So he sent an invite,
He like sent an invite or he announced some party.
but it was like a scheduled announcement.
But like, yeah, but he had the party before he even said anything about the before he put out the
I
announcement.
wonder how far in advance the invite went out.
Yeah.
Yeah, like how far in advance would you have to go? Time travel is tricky. I don't think time travel could happen. I think it's too difficult.
Wow.
I'm sorry. I think people need to give up on time travel. I love time travel. I just don't think it can happen.
I think people need to give.
What
up
if it's
on
like
the
an
Dallas
interstellar
Cowboys.
situation?
Wow. Yeah, now that's a great question. If you are getting close to a black hole and thus you are moving at the speed of light, is that time travel or are you just going really fast?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's one way someone could prove time travel.
How?
Traveling through time and coming and joining us here and saying, yes, I remember the Cowboys winning the Super Bowl.
I hate you, John.
And they brought Emmett Smith, young Emmett Smith, with them.
Okay, along those lines, I've thought about this before. You have someone, John, that comes to you and can tell you, A, how long you're going to live, and B, and this is, I want to focus more on the second part, not how long you're going to live. But they were like, I know if the Cubs have or haven't won another World Series in your lifetime while you are alive. Do you want to know the answer to that question?
No, I don't want to know the answer.
Me neither. If somebody came and was like, I'll tell you if the Cowboys have won or not. I don't want to know.
Yeah.
Even though it'd be nice to get like, because if the answer is yes, like it will warm my heart. Like, awesome. I will get to see it. But then it'd be like a spoiler alert.
What if they tell you when the Cowboys are going to win the Super Bowl and then they tell you your time of death and it is 2 minutes before or 2 minutes after that?
Okay. Well, hey, at least I got the happiness for 2 minutes. Do I have a heart attack from being so happy?
No, you die and then 2 minutes later they win the Super Bowl.
Okay, that's maybe the worst thing that could ever happen to me. That sounds terrible.
That's the worst thing that could ever happen to Earth
In overtime.
because it means the Cowboys will have won.
And John will have to remember me the next day. Wow, that's a tough one.
The
for you.
Cowboys win the Super Bowl in
Yeah,
overtime.
but if it keeps
and
me
you
from
die.
avoiding having to talk about the Cowboys winning the Super Bowl, I suppose I would spend 4 hours memorializing you.
Yeah.
And that'd be more enjoyable than talking about the Cowboys winning the Super Bowl.
Wow.
Damn.
Jordan says, hasn't Jerry Jones already proved time traveling?
That's true. He did.
Yeah.
Time traveling Jarrah.
And he says Josh could have the time traveler taken back to Dallas for the assassination and prove himself right. I'll go back with a good
Yeah, but
iPhone camera.
Josh will go back and be the drunk motorcycle cop.
Oh, wow. What if that happened?
Maybe time
What if
travel.
it's actually me?
What if? Okay.
Well, first I'd have to believe that you actually got on a motorcycle.
Yeah, that sounds scary. No thanks.
We might have had this dumb debate before, but say time travel is real, but you can only go backwards or forwards.
What would you want to do?
Yeah.
Something weird's going on. You guys
Our
are
internet's,
losing-
dude, internet's wonky today.
Yeah.
Okay,
it's falling apart.
because that's why I keep dropping out of
Yeah.
the hoochamadan.
I'd probably want to go backwards. Going forward sounds scary.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think.
I
backwards.
definitely want to go backwards.
I'd want to
because I want to see it. You know, I want to
see something
actual...
that's in black and white, but in color.
Yes,
I want to go watch the 27 Yankees. You know,
That'd be fun.
Mine is all goofy crap like that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, though it would be really interesting to go like way back.
But the problem is, if you see the 27 Yankees, then a few years later, you have to deal with the Great Depression.
Yeah, but I'm just watching the baseball.
Yeah.
That's all I want to go there for is baseball. But hey, Nick, if you go way back in time, the bad breath thing, it's not even a dumb debate. It's just what you got to deal
good
with.
Breath.
Well, the feet thing's not a dumb debate either.
Yeah, it's just so that's the part about going way back. It's just smelly.
It's be so smelly.
Yeah.
Imagine being at Yankee Stadium in 1920.
There's no pollution in the 1800s, but it smells like garbage.
Before the Industrial Revolution.
All right. Yes. I was thinking of like 1800.
Yeah, you want to go to the early 1800s.
You go back to when they finished
signing. So you don't just have to be in Boston to use those slurs.
Nice. When you finish signing the Declaration of Independence in August of 1776, and they're like, America is now founded. It's August 8th.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let me
record that video.
Let me spin it to a sports thing, and let's narrow the parameters. Let's say you can only go back or go forward like a couple of days.
Okay.
If you're a sports gambler, do you go back in time to bet on previous games, or do you go forward and bet on games that are to come?
Well, the better thing to do probably would be to go forward, because I am currently living in this timeline. So if I become a great bettor, it's just what happened. Like if you go back in time and do it, there's just always a worry of, hey, who's that guy? We don't have any of his information, you know? Like if I bet now, I can bet legally. All it takes is just a couple of bets, even before the websites shut you down. You just got to hit on one nice parlay, and then you're set.
In this scenario, you can come back to your original time.
Yeah.
Dave says forget sports gambling, Powerball. Yeah, maybe
well,
Powerball.
let's just narrow it to sports gambling for the sake of the argument. Okay. You go backwards 2 days. So you're going back 2 days, like to bet on this Dodgers game.
Okay, so I'm still basically my same person.
Or do you go forward 2 days and bet on whoever the Dodgers are playing after that? My answer is you always go forward, and here's why. I'm always worried about the butterfly effect.
Oh, for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Just totally screwing something up.
Like, let's say
2 days ago,
Nick gets hit by the attack of bad breath.
Oh, no.
And somehow the bad breath starts a chain of events that leads the result of what the game would have been being changed because of Nick's bad breath, the butterfly effect.
Nick's bad breath changed everything.
Somehow the Nick butterfly bad breath effect caused Shohei to strike out in the ninth instead of hit a walk-off single.
Oh, Schwalkoff?
A Schwalkoff single.
Nick time traveled to September of 2001, and that breath was very bad, and then really horrible things happened. Is it Nick's fault?
Wow.
Yeah.
I think it would depend on what the schedule is. Like if the Dodgers lose to the Rockies 2 days from now, I'm going to bet on the Rockies. But if that happened before.
Well, no, the best thing to do would be to just find a parlay. Go to somewhere where you can put together as many teams as possible on a money line parlay and bet that, and then you're golden. All it takes is one bet. You know, don't get in trouble and do a bunch of cute stuff. Do one crazy parlay. Maybe put $10 on a bunch of dumb ones, so you lose some money, but you win $1 billion.
Yeah, you gotta be smart about that, otherwise you're gonna get investigated.
One more along these lines, kind of. Peter says, if you could be a fly on the wall in any room, past, present, or future, which room would it be? Me, the room in which Dana Altman told Arkansas he changed his mind about the coaching job. So he's going very sportsy. Is there like a serious one though that you would want to go see?
So you're a fly on the wall?
And they're making a decision inside of that room, a big, big decision. And you get to see it happen, but you're just a fly on the wall. And hopefully there's no fly swatters around. I'm going something big, historical.
Man, I'd have to think. I had to think about that for a while because there's so many, monumental decisions, debates that have. And it would probably be something that we don't totally know the answer to. Right? So that we would have an answer, like a great mystery.
Sure. So what's a great mystery?
Well, that's what I'm thinking.
See, like a sports one that came to mind first and foremost was Nebraska deciding to go to the Big Ten and like what that decision was like. Yeah. Because how much of it was tech.
You don't want to be in the book repository?
But you see, I want to be in something where where people still argue over whether or not, like we'll say like the Kennedy assassination. Now that
Mhm.
wasn't obviously a meeting.
Sure.
Well,
If
things-
it was the last meeting he ever had.
I mean, things did meet each other.
Oh, yeah.
Bullets and heads.
Tony says the death of Mr. H.
That did pop
Oh.
into my brain. That could be interesting.
Something else popped into his brain. Maybe. See, that's the thing, Nick. Maybe you could find out that it didn't happen.
Right, that's
and
what
then
I'm
he went
saying.
to Brazil.
So, things that people think may or may not have happened. Something like that. But I have to think about, some of those mysteries.
Yeah.
And it could be like going way back in time and seeing how it really was, in the biblical times.
I was going to say, building of the pyramids.
Yeah,
Sure.
that's
I
a
mean,
good
that
one.
stuff is pretty fascinating. That they got the angles right. All that type of stuff is wild.
It is one of my favorite parts about the Bible because that's one of the oldest historical records we have. Is there are stories in there that can correlate with actual things that happened. Granted, things didn't happen to one that happened in the Bible.
Wow,
But
look at Nick celebrating God and ripping on him at the same
well,
time.
like an example is the Great Flood, right?
Sure. You
the
talking about Noah's Ark?
Yes. There's historical proof that they found out that when the Great Flood would have happened is the same time as when the Mediterranean Sea filled up with more water.
So you want to go see what happened?
Yeah.
That's a good one. Nick, that's a great one. Noah's Ark's fascinating.
Just to draw the line between what the Bible said and then what history has
What if
found.
you learn? What if atheist Nick, who's a fly, goes and sees that there is an ark?
An atheist fly?
No. Well, are you still then an atheist? You come back like, oh my gosh, there was an ark. Right, coming back, spreading the good
that
news.
means Nick becomes like a gemstone or something.
Oh.
Wow, with a gold Bible. Oh, spoiler alert, Nick. There's a gold Bible in the
Yeah.
season. Yeah.
And then Nick will start his own little ministry. But then will people believe him? It goes back to the time traveling guy.
And then I'll bring in Abraham Lincoln and be like, look, it's Abe Lincoln.
Wow.
Can you imagine Nick is like a televangelist who's trying to convince everyone, no, I actually have seen it. I've seen it. No, it actually is true. And people are like, no, you didn't see it.
Stibbs, what kind of dork could be a fly on the wall and pick the room where Dana Altman changes his mind? Of all rooms.
I mean, the thought did cross my mind
Yeah.
of so many different places I could be. I would have liked to have been a fly on the wall when Steve Peterson slid the pink slip under Frank's door. Just be in those halls.
Sam writes, in 1939, apparently Churchill was asking the French generals when the reserves are coming back to reinforce Paris, and they told him there are no more reserves. And Churchill said it was the most shocking moment of his life.
Whoa.
So I think he's picking that one.
Imagine seeing shocked Winston Churchill.
And then he also had
Yeah,
sports.
but are you really shocked that the French were going to basically
Oh, come on,
quit?
John.
Come on.
That's when the bit began, though. Sam said sports, it'd be interesting to be in the room with Luca when he found out he got traded. Yeah, in terms of recent shocking
That'd be
things,
wild.
that would have been very, like, wait a second. No way. This is a joke, right? This is a joke.
Nick now is the next David Koresh.
Do you know who David Koresh is, Nick?
No.
Oh, man. You definitely don't want to be that guy.
Oh, no.
You don't want to be that guy.
I don't.
Mhm.
I don't think I do.